Namaste. Welcome back. Yeah, yesterday again there was a lot of discussion uh, and there were a few questions on education. What exactly is the purpose of education? So we would want to have a small capsule today, focusing primarily on education. Why should we study? What is the reason behind education? And why is it so important in contemporary times? If we have to grow, if we have to develop, if we have to have a successful career, I think the base is education. So this session would be devoted to education. Let's understand what education actually means. Education comes from the word educe, to bring out that which is latent in us, that which has been gifted to us by God. It is our bounden duty to ensure that it comes to the fore. That which is inherent in us, that which is a part of our personal mental repertoire, that needs to find an expression. And that is where education becomes the means, the medium. So education is for life, not for living. It is for a meaningful life. It is for a more worthwhile life. However, educationists, thinkers, seers, prophets have tinkered so much with the processes of education that today education has been reduced to a caricature in itself. The very task of education is transformation. And this sole objective has been given up as beyond its ken. Raising the level of the human to the divine should be the task of education. If one were to compare the ancient practices with the modern practices, you find that in the past, in the Gurukul tradition, we had a student staying at the ashram for 15 years, 24/7, and learning all the disciplines from his Guru Mata and the Guru Pita. And at the end of 15 years, he would be coming out into the society, having mastered all that which was needed to be mastered. The modern practices are quite appalling. The philosophy is one of to give and to receive. You give and you receive. You pay and you get. So the entire education system is perhaps navigating around economics, or what we call as money. In the past, in the Gurukul tradition, we found that education was the responsibility of the state, and these ashrams and hermitages were primarily prepared under the tutorship or the guideship of the king or the Maharaj. So donations and all that which was required used to flow down from the state. In other words, it was the responsibility of the state. In modern times, yes, it is the responsibility of the state, but then individuals have to pay for it, which was not perhaps the case in the ancient times. If one makes a comparative study between the ancient practices and the modern practices, we find that the students who would come out of the Gurukula system would have all the values and virtues which were needed into what Plato would refer as a good citizen. The modern practices with all the apparatus that it apparently has and all the facilities that are given to students, you do not find on an average students coming out of the system who are known for their integrity. Value systems have perhaps taken a slide. Virtues and values and what we just referred to, transformation is not perhaps the aim at this particular point of time. It is a mad rush into which all of us are engaged with what we refer as cutthroat competition. So my question to all of you is that as grown-up students, you have to take the best of what was available in the Gurukula tradition and the contemporary practices as it were. We take what is good from the West, we adopt the Tagorean principle of selective assimilation and accommodation, and make efforts, make sincere, accurate, precise, methodical efforts to become good human beings. So my dear students, my understanding of education is that you have to be devoted to the practices of teaching and learning 24/7. It is not a part-time activity. Our engagement has to be sincere, our engagement with education has to be genuine, and that everything needs to be done with a method. So every morning, when you get up, ensure that you get up early and have short-term goals before you that this much I need to be contributing to the society. I think it would be quite interesting to place Rousseau's social contract in this discussion of ours. Rousseau went on to say that there is a contract, an unseen contract into which every individual enters into the society. Initially, his hand is in this position. This is the hand of a receiver. It takes much from the society. It takes security, it takes education, it takes whatever he asks us for. However, after he has achieved what he needs to achieve, following his education, this hand needs to get inverted. And that, whatever you have taken from the society, you have to doubly pay back to the society. So education is not just for gaining an employment. It is for life. And this process is an endless process which goes down to the last mile. And therefore, my dear students, do not ever waste your time. Rise up, rise up, ready yourself for the challenges that are being posited on account of the changing situation in the country. The country needs responsible people. The country needs people, who are committed, who are dedicated. What I've been telling you in terms of the 5 Ds: duty, devotion, discipline, determination, and discrimination. Know your duties. Okay, my duty as a teacher is this. My duty as a student is this. And that, my commitment to executing my duties has to be set first. Duty has to be engaged with a feeling of devotion, bhakti bhav. As we touch the feet of our elders, we have to touch the soil, the ground, of this ashram, and have that feeling of respect. It's only then would Goddess Saraswati bless us. However, duty and devotion, hand in hand, we have to be, disciplined. Everything has to be done, as I just said, with a method. We're human beings, not animals. Not animals, remember that. And that, there has to be a fixity of purpose, the determination to do, the determination to achieve. That is so very essential. However, as grown-up students, again, you need to have that sense of discrimination to know what is good for you and what is not good for you. So let's close our session today, with a promise that I would want all of you to make to me, that we are not going to sit idle, we are not going to while away our time, rather we are going to engage ourselves in the task of nation building, for it is on account of the nation that we are, not the other way around. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.